Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. And of course, welcome back to another episode of Travel Talk. I have an awesome show lined up for you guys. But before we get started, I just want to have a little disclosure. I am watching my mother's dog right now, and he's pitter-pattering around in the background. So if you hear any little cries or little taps, that would be Charlie. So just giving you guys that full upfront disclosure. But again, welcome back. Thank you for being here. And as you know, if you've pre-registered for this talk, we're going to be discussing our upcoming New York City Holiday Magic Tour happening from December 5th to December 9th of this year. So it's one of those women's travel club short getaways. If you're in North America, and I guess anywhere, you would know that New York is a pretty special and magical time during the holiday season, regardless of what you celebrate during that time. And it can be pretty extravagant for those who might not have been to New York before, which is why we thought it was a great idea to bring Kelley on. And I see Anne is here from the New Orleans trip, who is familiar with Kelley. She was our tour host for that trip, and we did a travel talk recently if you want to rewatch that recap on our YouTube channel. But today, Kelley is going to join us to talk about her trip to New York with the Women's Travel Club. And I believe it was this past holiday season that Kelley, I see her nodding in the lower ends here, that Kelley was in New York. And their itinerary, while it was spectacular, we have made a couple alterations, which Kelley will explain and get into. And so without further ado, I'll bring Kelley on to say hello to you guys. There she is.
Hi, ladies. Nice to be here again. Thank you, Allie, for the invite. And I'm happy to share and answer any questions that anybody else has, other than the ones that we're going to cover today in our travel talk.
Exactly. Yes. And I saw you nodding down there. It was this past 2023 that you were with the New York group, right?
That's correct. That was my second tour with the travel club. I did Spain the previous spring, and then New York City just before Christmas. It was absolutely spectacular, as the Christmas spectacular, event that we went to.
Exactly. It's so many of those spectacular inclusions that we
That's right.
that we've seen there. So it really ties into the whole magical atmosphere, the whole vibe. So I did put together a little visual slideshow of some of the pictures or all of the pictures, I guess, that you guys had on the Photo Circle account. So let's throw that up here. It's worth mentioning, I think, except for the top right and left pictures and the corners, everything you're about to see was taken from Kelley and the other women on the New York trip this past year. So without further ado, these are some preliminary group shots that I took. I think it was this year, guys, welcome dinner that you had on the first night. And what was that kind of atmosphere like when you all got together and were ready to, take the plunge?
Well, our welcome dinner was at Carmine's. I don't know if that's in those photos there. I think that's the cruise ship photo. We went for like a dinner cruise. And I think that's the center picture and the picture on the right as well. But we were at Carmine's for our welcome dinner. And I have to tell you, that was like the most incredible meal. It's apparently the place to be. And we were in the front window seats, which are sort of like reserved for, if you got to be seen, want to be seen, this is the place to go. So you'll have you might have a brush with some people that are famous that are sitting in those areas as well. So we were really fortunate to have this beautiful, massive round table where all of us, we fit around there, and we had such a great dining delight, like from appetizers right through to dessert. I got to say that the meal was spectacular.
It's going to be hard to avoid that word now that we've kind of got it registered in our brain.
There, that's right.
Teacher brain, right? That when we grab onto those certain phrases, we hold on to them. But the food in New York is quite diverse, and it's hard to get a bad meal there, is what I've heard. I did a short little getaway there when I turned 17 or 18. And while it was some time ago, that's one thing that sticks out to my mind when I think about my New York trip. So I know it's been a good few months, but when you hear about New York, your New York trip, what is the first maybe memory or thing that comes to mind when you look back on it?
For me, it would have been just the bright lights, big city experience. All right. So I'd never been to New York. So this is my first experience there. And then seeing everything just dolled up with, Christmas. That's what really, I mean, that's the whole point of the trip, right? The Christmas New York City trip. So I would say that driving from the airport with my cab to the hotel, I got to see so much of New York just on that little excursion, and I was just impressed with, like, it was clean. The streets were clean, at least the areas that I was in, and just everything was decorated to head to toe. So I'm going to say, like, that to me was most impressive when you come into the city. I wasn't expecting as much Christmas as I got to experience. I thought, oh, they'll have it here and there, but no, everything is Christmas. So,
oh, that's why I think you can do New York any time of the year, and it's bound to be spectacular. But when you add that little holiday magic touch into it, I think that's why we decided to continue this year doing the same kind of, not same itinerary, but same trip tour in New York for the holidays because of that exact reason. So, you get that big city experience and the lights either whenever you go to New York, but when you go during Christmas, you're really going to get it. And I've got Naomi asking a question here from Texas, and she wonders if it's your recommendation that grabbing a cab from the airport to your accommodation. Now, I'm not 100% certain. I don't think any transfers are included with this tour. So
they
what did you do?
Were included. Yeah, we had all of our transfers were Ubers that were set up already. So we had someone waiting for us when we arrived at the airport. And then the Uber drivers brought us directly to the airport. It wasn't the same type of transfers I've had like in other excursions, like in New Orleans or in Spain, where it was a service. So I don't know if they're going to switch that up or not. I think that might be
I
sort
do
of a nice thing to
I'm
do.
just peeking on the website briefly here, and I do see in the exclusions, it does say airport transfers. However, once flights have been scheduled, WTC will offer transfers. So I'm sure if, you're using our flight desk and whatnot, and you have everything solidified through us, that's how we would kind of go about the transfers. But let's get to another slide here. It's just a couple more fun pictures here. Kelley, what are you holding up in this picture? Can you explain kind of what's going on here?
Yes. So we went down to the memorial site for 9/11, the Twin Towers, obviously. And I had brought a baseball cap with the Grimsby Fire Department with me. And the station, I believe it's Station 10, is right down there. And that was the first station that responded to the 9/11. So I got a chance to pop in there. And I just kind of like tapped on the window, and this firefighter came to the window, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come in?" I'm like, "Sure." So I got to go in and have a little tour because they don't do that normally. So I had a little tour, and then I picked up a patch there that I gave to my ex-husband because he's a firefighter, and I bought a T-shirt which has like the logo on there, and it's the same one that the department wears at the fire hall. So that's what that is. So I was able to buy a little bling down there.
I always love, like, when I'm looking through pictures, so even we did the Friday feature on our Facebook page for you this past Friday. And this was one of the pictures. I'm like, well, you got to have that one. You look so happy and accomplished. And clearly you were accomplished in getting into this place where they don't necessarily do those tours often. And that really goes to show that your tour is what you make of it, ladies. This is, of course, a scheduled itinerary, and we do have activities, but there's always opportunities to kind of get off the beaten path, to kind of make your tour what you want to get out of it. And Kelley did that here with her opportunities that she made for herself. And that's what we love to see, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was really cool because in talking with the firefighter there, now he wasn't working at that time. He was like a young fella then, but he was able to share kind of the story about the fire hall and that whole experience and how they had to close the hall down for a number of months because they had to rebuild the foundation. And on like obviously the sad note is that they lost like half their team during that time, which is that's it's a very emotional, moving experience when we're down at the memorial site. And I hadn't had the chance to be there prior to the loss of everything, and that tragedy, but it was such a beautiful space to go in and to sort of reflect a little bit, like around the memorial. And then getting a chance to see the fire hall, that was just like a little bonus, right?
Of course. It's one of those things, the 9/11 memorial, that you almost can't avoid when you're going to New York. I think especially if it is a first time experience. Like I was only there for 3 days when I went with my mother and my aunt, because let's be honest, everybody, in New York is a girls' trip place to be. It is very much, this is where I would like to be with my girlfriends. And we were only there for 3 days, and yet we managed to get the 9/11 memorials in the museum into our itinerary because we felt it necessary to, like you said, go and reflect on such a monumental moment in history. And it's extra special that you got to squeeze your way in there and get your patch and your shirt, and to really have that time to yourself to reflect on the lives lost and whatnot. So that's to combat that. I guess we see the Rockettes here to kind of go in the other direction. The Rockettes show. Now, I believe we do have that included, the Rockettes Christmas Spectacular and backstage tour for this year's itinerary. So can you give us a bit of insight on that experience?
Yes. So that day, that was the Saturday. So that was leading into our final day of our tour. So the ladies got up. We had a wonderful leisurely breakfast at the hotel we were at. And then they had a couple hours to kind of, do some little window shopping ahead of time, or shopping. We arrived at the Radio City Music Hall around 11 a.m. And we had our tour before the show, which was amazing, and got to see sort of like the private spaces that the celebrities would be in these rooms. Now, apparently, when the door is closed, that means there's some celebrity in there. So we didn't get to go into that one particular room. So there was someone there, and they couldn't tell us, or whatever. It was all like, oh, hush, hush. But we still got to go through and meet one of the Rockettes, as you can see in the top right, the picture there. So in the center of the picture, there's a lady in green. She's one of the Rockettes. We had a chance to talk to her as a group. And then we had individual pictures as well as a group shot. So the ladies were able to have that experience. And then we got to see the dressing rooms and the costume rooms and the history of the Rockettes, which was, something, again, I wasn't really familiar with. And then getting that experience backstage was wonderful. And then our seats were like spectacular. Okay. We were like the front row of the balcony,
Wow.
Escorted to our seats. And it was
you
just,
were the celebrities at that point. You became the talk of the town, I guess.
Yes, it was the perfect view. I mean, I wouldn't want to be on the lower level. I liked being up on the balcony because we could see everything. You could see what's happening on the sides, because they have all sorts of entrances along the sides of the Radio City Music Hall, and there's activity and dancing happening on these upper decks coming down to the main stage. So it was an incredible show. And I'm pretty sure that I can speak for all the ladies there that they thoroughly enjoyed it, as well as all their Broadway shows they went to on their own. This was the one that was included for our tour.
See, that's the thing again. If you're in New York, of course, we have these itinerary inclusions there for a reason, because they're pretty iconic and monumental things to do when you're in New York. But you're still in New York and you have full liberty to, explore on your own. And we do highly encourage that for our members, not to be so stuck in the path that has been created, but to branch out and to get the most out of your experience. And that seems to be what had happened on your tour, Kelley, whether it was, getting that extra moment of reflection at the 9/11 memorial in the fire station, or if it's going to these Broadway shows and getting that extra cultural experience as well. So in New York, there's no shortage of things to do. I mean, I love New York for a short getaway. I think it's perfect because New York can be quite overstimulating, especially at Christmas time, what Kelley has learned. And more than a few days, it can be a lot for people. And then you take in the walking and the this and then that. So it is a lot. So I think that's why we decided to make the itinerary a bit shorter from the 5th to the 9th. Now, Kelley, how did you find, I'm going to skip the slide here, but how did you find the timeline and the number of days for the trip? Did you find it was too much, too little? Did you think it was good? What was your feedback there?
I thought that the amount of time was enough because like you just said, there's a lot going on, and to be there longer, I mean, that would be, it might be too much, right? Depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a shopping trip, this probably isn't necessarily the main goal, but you can do some shopping. So, if you're looking at experiencing the culture, seeing the city, experiencing the food, going to theaters, I think you see in the one picture where my arms are like this, right behind me is the Rockefeller Center. And this was, again, another addition because I arrived the day before that one of the ladies and I prearranged. She's from Washington State, Patty. So she said, anybody want to go skating? And I'm like, I'm in, right? I'm Canadian. I'm in. I'm going to go skating. So I brought my own skates. That was kind of like the joke. And so, I made time to do that. So again, I don't think more time is necessary. I just think it's, look at the itinerary, and if it's suitable to you. Most evenings were free. So a number of the ladies teamed up through our group chat on WhatsApp, and they were able to say, hey, I want to go see this show. Anyone else interested? And then they coordinated themselves for that. So, if you're thinking of going to a show, you have the time to do that, then you've got the connection with others. So you don't have to go and experience it by yourself necessarily. I didn't do any extra Broadway shows. I took that time to kind of just, walk around, relax a little bit, prep for the next day.
As a host, we have an extra layer of responsibility. Of course, we're here to experience these trips with our members and to bring, the itinerary to fruition and whatnot. But we are there as well as a mom, as Kirsten likes to call us, the tour moms, and we can get a little tired sometimes. So it's always nice when we can have our downtime as well, and the members on the tour can have their downtime, or if they want to go do extra stuff, they have the opportunity to collaborate with the other members on the tour, which I think is really necessary and great to have. So that's awesome. And speak of rest, let's talk about the walking, because I know that last year, how many steps were you ballparking?
Well, I had my Fitbit. So when I was doing my recap with Women's Travel Club, I was able to actually look at my Fitbit and say, oh, yeah, that day was really long. So, some days there was 8,000 steps. Some days there was 20. So depending on, I see Tammy's on there. Hi, Tammy. Depending on
asking about the outerwear and footwear. So this is
yes, this will tie in perfectly to that. Yes. So the day that was really long was when we had some free time at the end of our tour trip, like our tour guided trip. And I said, I'm going to go to Macy's because I've got to take pictures. My mom came here as a child, and this would be something beautiful to share with her. So we decided to walk back to one of the markets, Christmas markets. I can't, starts with a B. I can't think of it. Bryant Square Christmas market. So we walked back to that, anyone that wanted to. And then the other ladies that had enough walking went with the tour guide back to the hotel. And so then we walked from Bryant Market Square all the way down to Macy's. And then some of the ladies walked all the way around the outside of Macy's. I only did like 2 sides of it. And then I said, listen, you have a transfer. We can jump the bus if you want, or you can walk. And so as long as you stay with somebody else, you're paired up, then we're good to go. I said, I'm going to walk because I just needed the activity after sitting for too long for certain parts of the day. So actually, most of them walked back with me, which was, I know, right? And we walked right through Times Square on the way back, which was kind of fun. So my recommendation for footwear, again, will be checked, like hopefully whoever's tour hosting, I don't know if someone else has signed up for it or not, but I would say we'll be checking the weather and then seeing if there's snow and then deciding what's appropriate footwear. So I would say definitely supportive shoes that have a good sole on them, that have some grip, because if it's rainy, it could be slippery. If it's snowy, it could be slippery. And again, if you're walking a lot, you want your feet to be comfortable and supported. I definitely wore my support socks for circulation. And I think that's, if you have them, use them, because it's winter and why not just layer up? Yep. For jackets, I did layers. So in the picture you see there where I'm wearing the red jacket, it's I had that one, but I also had another layer I could put over it. So that's like sort of like a fall jacket, but then I had a thermal shirt underneath it because we were skating that particular day. And we, of course, brought these Santa hats. So I happen to have access to a lot of Santa hats. So I brought Santa hats for my group and we all wore Santa hats.
Casual
right.
Santa,
Yeah, it's just, one of those little things. It keeps your head warm too. So I think that, I don't know if that covers enough for the walking. I mean, it's sidewalks, it's city, it's busy. You've got to watch your step. You got to cross at the crosswalks. It's like any big city you're in, you have to pay attention. And again, dressing in layers is vital, especially when we're doing outdoor, from one place to another, like shorter walking excursions.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we did kind of shift the itinerary as per Kelley's suggestion. And this is another thing that tour hosts do. We go on the tour, we assess, we report back and make alterations as needed, judging by, what happened on the tour. And one of Kelley's suggestions was, hey, maybe a bit too much walking. Maybe just a little bit. Yeah. So what we've done this year is we've tweaked the tour so that there isn't so much walking. However, at the end of the day, it's New York. And at the end of the day, there is walking. So with that being said, there's also, you can get sweaty and hot and there's lots of people around. So it may be cold, temperature wise in the air, but your body temperature could run warmer as you're walking through the streets, through the people. And that's why I think layers is a really good suggestion, Kelley, because as you see in the picture where Kelley's got her arms up and Tammy has pointed out, I was expecting it to have snow all around. And as you can see, that last year it wasn't. So Kelley was able to take off her bigger jacket and feel more comfortable. So I think that's probably the best suggestion that can be given in terms of outerwear and footwear. Now, Naomi's asked, and this is something that you would know, Kelley, as I wouldn't, do the Christmas markets have international vendors? Is that something that you took note of, or what was that like?
The different markets. So the Bryant market, it wasn't really on the list of markets, but we had some free time there and I really took some time to look around. And there were a lot of local artisans, whether craftspeople that were doing like leather works, that were making jewelry. Like it was like the best market overall. I wasn't looking and going, oh, this is made in, right? And it's not necessarily made by an artist, right? So it's mass produced. So I really enjoyed that part of the Bryant market. Other markets will have things that are sort of, maybe made in a big factory, and it's not necessarily what you're looking for with regards to something special to sort of commemorate your trip or as ornaments for Christmas. I bought some really nice things at the Bryant market for family and friends that were taking care of my cats and my house and whatever. So, and for Christmas too. So, as far as international vendors, I think like if you mean like, like other countries that are sending in people that are actual artists, I didn't really see that, but I did take time to talk to a lot of the different vendors that I visited at the Bryant Market and just had great connections with them, got their business cards, and like, oh, I can order that online. Great. So I hope that answers that question
I
to
think that's
Naomi.
kind of what Naomi was asking in terms of like, is there going to be more international artisans and whatnot, which you said no, but there will be international in the sense that there's like mass produced international goods. And that I think kind of covers that. And Kim has asked, is the Bryant Market the actual name or is it just the area? I'm not 100% sure.
It's a big square and there's a fountain in there, I guess normally. And it's just sort of like in the middle of some historical buildings. So they set up the market there during Christmas market. So
it on Google as well. That's the name.
And there's an ice rink there as well that they set up. So I mean, if you are like thinking, oh, I want to skate a few different places. If you don't want to go to Rockefeller Center to skate, but I had to do that for my mom, so I did that.
My favorite. It's classic. It's the best.
Oh yeah, there I am there. See, if you look in the back of that picture closest to the left, I've got my arm up in the air waving. I got my little red jacket on. So that's at the Rockefeller ice rink. And then the picture above is our dinner at Carmine's. Yeah, our welcome dinner at Carmine's. There was so much food. I swear, like we had like 2 massive trays of leftovers, and there was a lot of us. Like we were eating everything. I'm like, definitely weren't going to go starving that night. So
yeah, it looks. I can see the table, barely any negative space there. There's one,
and I think that was the beginning of the meal too.
Perfect. Right. That's what we like to do. Tammy's asked in regard to skating, is there an opportunity to rent skates if they don't have their own?
Yes, at Rockefeller Center, you come in there. You have to book ahead of time, though. You have to actually buy your ticket ahead, and then you're given 1 hour, which is more than enough time. You'd be done in an hour because you're skating in circles, right? So you can rent skates there. They're probably well fitted as well, and I would kind of recommend if you're not a really good skater to get a helmet. Okay. That's just what I'm saying, because we did this before the tour, so it wasn't part of the tour. But Patty, who's with me in that photo, not a great skater. She just, she lives in an area that's not lots of ice. She has skated before, but just before we got off the ice, I was like, "Hey, you did really good!" And bam, she fell on her keister. As she was my roommate, so I was able to keep an eye on her, but. She didn't get like a goose egg, but it was like a little,
incident,
a little shaking up for her. So if you are going to do that, I'd say get some helmets too, just to be safe. Like I skate all the time.
We're Canadian. It is who we are. I mean, it's part of our personality, but that's a really
good right.
In regards to safety and kind of, veering into the safety discussion, New York and Times Square in particular can be overwhelming and hectic with the amount of people. Some people can get very anxious in those kind of situations. And do you have any kind of suggestions or recommendations in regards to safety or keeping your personal items secure and those kind of things? Because New York, it is one of the biggest cities, out there with the most people, and things happen. So what did you kind of do, Kelley, to make sure that you were safe and secure as well as with the members?
For the ladies, I mean, we had no incident. Okay. So, I kind of put out there like, hey, we're all safe. We're all together. We're going to be smart. And so when we were walking the sidewalks, especially like on the busy streets, we kind of like walked in pairs. And then again, you're keeping keep your bag in the front of you. That's kind of like key. So you have you can hold on to it or have it inside. I had mine inside my jacket, to be quite honest, because it was small enough. I had wearing it in front is kind of key. Have nothing that is loose and hanging around. Pockets are zipped up if you have things in your pockets. But I mean, it's just being being smart like we normally are when we are out in public in any city. So it's not any different from any other city that you may have traveled to, or in your, local province or your state. So it's just about having an awareness and always sort of sticking with somebody. And if we have free time, I just told the ladies, I said, just check in with someone. If you are going to go, I'm just going to go here. And then somebody can keep an eye out for you. And so I think it's, less worrisome. I wasn't worried. I felt completely confident and comfortable that everyone was making good choices. And so,
and I mean, at the end of the day, we are a group of grown women, and of course we are strong and independent, and we can take care of ourselves. But I think kind of having that system in place in cities, especially like New York, like you said, not like many places you'll ever be, and it's good to kind of have even maybe not a buddy system like grade school, but somebody to check in with. So you could go out and venture on your own, but make sure somebody knows where you are. And if you're going to have free time, just make sure you're having check-ins, not only for, our peace of mind as a tour host, but for your peace of mind as well, to know that somebody has you on their radar. So I think that's a really good suggestion as well, for sure.
And the other thing that I highly recommended was at nighttime, you do not go on the subway, and you don't go on the subway alone, and you don't go on the subway at all unless you're with the tour guide. Okay, so it's kind of like you can take the city bus. It's well lit. They're on main roads. But I would recommend not wandering around at nighttime. Again, it's a city that never sleeps. And really, after a long day out, I'm kind of like, great, I can't wait to put my feet up, have a shower, get into bed, and just wind down for the night. So if you're going to a show, you're with somebody, or if you have a roommate, just check in with them. Or if you're worried and you're going by yourself, you check in with your tour host. I mean, that's what we're there for. We're there to support you, to make sure that you feel comfortable. I did have one member last year with all the walking. There was some difficulty for that particular person. And so I just, I offered my arm. She was a little senior to me, but I just, I said, hey, listen, this is like, you're tired, hold my arm. Or the footwear she was wearing maybe was a little, I wouldn't recommend. So, we're there to kind of help you navigate things. And I do see in my questions there, the walking sticks, if you have them, use them. If you use any type of supportive tools to get around, use those, because that's what they're there for. It's like, I wear my support socks, I wear my orthotics, that makes me more comfortable. So do what's going to make you most comfortable when you are in the city. You will have a chance to get dolled up for, our final dinner, because I'm assuming they're going to do something similar where we have actually the driver shows up at the door and takes us to the boat and then takes us back to the door. So there's like, you can wear uncomfortable shoes or boots, fancy stuff, because you're only going to be going like 10 steps, right? So
right. You got to know the itinerary, right, to kind of base your clothing and stuff off of. But we do have the same dinner cruise night, highlight dinner cruise for the last night. So that's
perfect.
That's something special that we've included. And I'll just, as you can see here, so we've also included the deluxe Times Square accommodations, which I think I had the opportunity to stay in Times Square when I went back in 2017. And oh my goodness, it's so overwhelming, but it's so nice that you can have your room, your solidarity in the midst of all the craziness. And if you have, a nice window with a view and you look out and you see all the this and that and the lights and the people and the sounds and the smells, but then you're in your own little space. I think that's really unique and special. Of course, we have the Christmas lights walking tour, which if you really think about it, that's kind of the entire trip is a Christmas lights walking tour, but there is a specific section dedicated to that. Of course, we said the Rockettes Christmas Spectacular and backstage experience and the holiday markets. And of course, there's more included in the itinerary, which is detailed in on the website as well. But in terms of your time in New York, Kelley, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to mention to our members, any advice, any stories, anything you really have to say.
We did a ferry ride across we took the Staten Island ferry. I don't know if they're doing the same one because I made some other recommendations, but when we got across to the Staten Island, we got off the ferry and we went to another memorial that if you stand sort of like right like in the center of it, you can see the One World Tower, which is the new building that's built adjacent to the site of the Twin Towers. And so it was sort of like this memorial was set up there to view the other memorial. So that was a kind of a neat piece. And we also got to get up close to Lady Liberty. We weren't on Liberty Island, but we went around it. We took some pictures of that. So I'm not sure if that's one of the things that's changing. I don't really know. I'd have to look at the new itinerary. But it was another suggestion I made.
Yeah, we actually have admission to Statue of Liberty for this tour. So that's, see, this is why we need Kelley, guys. She gives all the best feedback, and then we alter the tours, and then you get the best possible trip. So thank you, Kelley, for that.
You're welcome. I don't know if there's anything else that we did get to Central Park, which was kind of cool. As everyone's kind of aware, Central Park has a lot of history, as well as there's a lot of contemporary shows that have been filmed there. So for me, I was like, wait, is that the spot where? And I was, looking at things. So, it's kind of neat to be standing in those areas where other things have happened that have been like more like not just historical things, but you're also looking at more modern things where there's movies or shows that they've kind of focused on that. So that was kind of like a neat piece for us. We did get to we got to go under or around the Brooklyn Bridge on our dinner cruise. So there was a lot of like water coverage. Like we got to see a lot like during that dinner cruise and around Lady Liberty. As again, seeing her lit up at night is very different than a daytime tour. So lots of opportunities for great photos throughout the trip. So I just make sure you got lots of room on your phones to back up so you can keep your own. And then we've got the photo circle where you can share all the pictures and get the best of.
Exactly. Well, I
don't think there's anything else. Yeah.
By the time this trip goes out, we should have our Women's Travel Club app finally released, and that will be kind of your basis center. So we don't have, a WhatsApp group and a photo circle group, and then there will be kind of one epicenter of the Women's Travel Club needs for our members. So by the time the New York holiday comes about this year, we're hoping to have that app in the works so that way you all have a landing point to connect with your itinerary, other group members, your tour host, head office, flight assistants, all that fun stuff. So fingers crossed,
That's
and when
awesome.
it comes to app development, that's kind of an external factor that I wish we could control, but then again, I'm not a technical whatever, so I can't really answer those questions. But speaking of, if anybody watching right now has any questions, I always expect them to be asked throughout the show, and we've had some really great questions here. But if you would like to ask anything now, of course, please feel free to do so. If you think of a question that comes to you at 12 o'clock tonight and you forgot to ask it, definitely send an email. I will type my direct email in the chat here. That way, anybody who is thinking about booking this tour or have any questions, you can reach out to me directly and I would be happy to help you. But yeah, Kelley, thank you again for coming in today and speaking with us. And I think you said you're not sure if there's anything else. But yeah, so I'm really grateful to have you out as always. And I'm sure our members appreciated having you here too.
Thank you so much for having me come on the show. And if there's a question that I can answer, you can ask Allie and she can get back to me and I can let you know information about that. There are other things that are popping in my head, like you can get last minute tickets right at the little ticket things, which are all around Times Square and the areas that we were in. So there's lots of opportunities for you to get a last minute seating for shows.
Naomi, your most memorable moment.
My most memorable moment. I think for me, the most like the most sort of powerful, aside from being down at the memorial and going up the one world tower, which was extremely emotional, and like just like that really stuck with me. But on the other side, I'm going to say for me, the best thing that I really did just for myself was the skating at Rockefeller Center, because again, that's something that you see in all these shows. And then my mom was a skater in her years, and so being on that ice that she had been on as a child really sort of gave me just a deeper connection to her lived experience. And so that would be probably my most memorable happy moment. My most emotional moment would have been being up in the One World Tower, and we had a beautiful 360 view of New York City, and then also just seeing all of the things there to sort of pay homage to all of the lives lost. That's like another sort of gets you right in the heart. So I hope that answers your question, Naomi. The ladies were spectacular too. I got to tell you, I really made some great connections with these girls, and a couple of them, one of them went to New Orleans with me just recently, and another one's coming, whether she was on the New Orleans trip or she was in the New York City trip, is looking to the Quebec City trip that's coming up a year January. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All the cold.
So I made some connections.
Cold, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of, because you just mentioned it there before the question, when you discussed about the last minute ticketing and stuff, would you recommend our members, kind of freestyle those excursions, those individually, organized excursions? Or do you think that our members would benefit better by looking at things ahead of time? I know the Rockefeller Center is one of those things, or the skating, it's one of those things you need ahead of time. So what would your best recommendation be?
I would suggest, if there's a show in particular you want to go to, buy your ticket ahead of time. And so whoever the tour host is, I don't know if it'll be me or somebody else. I haven't really signed up.
Yeah,
Who
I
is
don't
it?
know. It says Irene's the leader of the tour, but I
Okay.
don't know if that means she's the host. So it's still up in
Yeah.
the air.
Okay. So, once you get connected that way, at least this is what I did with the group before Christmas this year, is the ladies were like, I'm interested in seeing this show. Anybody else want to? And then they switched emails, and then they coordinated and they bought their tickets ahead of time, so that because you can plan ahead saying, we've got this night free, what's available, right? And so some ladies saw 2 and some saw 3 Broadway shows while we were away, but some of them were there a couple of days ahead of time too. So that's something else to keep in mind as well. So I would say definitely look at getting those tickets, especially if you've got a particular show that you want to see. I was more ready and willing to just buy a last minute ticket. I don't care if I'm behind a pole. I'm fine. I just wanted to have, if I was going to have the experience, but I was kind of tuckered out. So I just kind of like laid low. And I noticed that there was a, thanks, Tammy.
Oh, sweet. Aw, those are nice. Here, I can even putting up here for everybody to see. This is Tammy's comment about Kelley being a fabulous host, and I would agree. I mean, I haven't experienced you as a host, but talking with you about your experiences in New Orleans and now New York, and hearing your suggestions and feedback, I think that this is really what being a tour host is all about. And it kind of, you are a great example when our members ask, what does that mean, a women's travel club tour host? What does that, do we still have an in-country guide? What are the stipulations about that? And I think Kelley's a really great example to be like, well, she is your shoulder. She is there for you to lean on. She is there for you to answer any questions in regards to, women's travel clubs, involvement with the tour and the itinerary and whatnot. And of course, you do have that extra layer of the in-country or in-city guide that takes you through the, more technical aspects of the tour. But I think for bringing a good atmosphere and whatnot, that's really the main job of the tour host. And clearly, Tammy has stated it here. You are a great host, Kelley, and we really do appreciate having you on our team.
Thank you. And I just to kind of segue from that, like your tour host is going to ensure that things run smoothly. So you're not, all you have to do is just get dressed and show up. And that's the best part because everything's coordinated. And then we let you know this is what's coming tomorrow. And it looks like the weather's going to be this way. So bring your umbrella or, make sure you got your gloves and we'll meet at this time and we're doing A, B, C, D. So it's, that's what at least the role that I've been, engaged in. And I think that sort of takes sort of that stress level off of the members, because then what you're doing is you're actually just experiencing the trip. You're not having to be like, oh wait, where's the driver? Oh wait, where's the tour guide? I'm like, I got that, right? And
exactly. I think it kind of goes with the phrase I said to our travel agent Milka, excuse me, who, if you guys are ever looking for tours that aren't just with the Women's Travel Club, maybe you have a partner or a husband or kids that you want to travel with, we have Milka as well, who is a travel specialist, and she is always available to help with those kind of trips. But what she said to me yesterday, we were like, oh, people ask me why I should use a travel agent. And, I kind of need a snappy answer to, give back to them. And I think the answer lies within why should you travel with a tour host? Because when you use a travel agent or you use travel with a tour host, you're on vacation. Whereas when you don't use an agent or you don't have a tour host, you're traveling. So there's a difference between being on vacation and traveling. And I think that when you get involved with a club like the Women's Travel Club and you have all of these people who would give you that peace of mind to know that if anything goes wrong or what's going to happen next or what's the weather like, how do I dress for this, you have such a great support system of people there to make sure that you indulge in the vacation aspect of travel and not the nitty-gritty small details that might deter one from traveling, because there can be so overwhelming. So I think that kind of is in line with what you're saying, Kelley, is that we alleviate a pressure off of your shoulders, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to tell you, it's been like one of the best experiences I've had. It's a nice segue from my previous career into my retired life. And I really enjoy leading groups in that sense. So it's not super stressful for me, but it's just like, it's kind of like you're the lifeguard, you're like on duty, but you can also still enjoy and engage. And like I said, I've remained in contact with a number of the ladies from Spain, New York City, and New Orleans. We've stayed connected, which has been really beautiful. So I've made travel friends, just like you will all make travel friends.
Exactly. What a great way to wrap it all up. I think in the theme of it being a holiday tour, you've wrapped the gift quite nicely for us, Kelley. And I think that this was a really great show to get a good amount of information. Tammy, of course, is appreciative of the picture showing that there isn't snow everywhere. And that is why we do these travel talks, to give you guys a visual sense, a sneak peek, a better understanding of what you are really booking when you book a tour with the Women's Travel Club. So again, thank you, Kelley, for being here. Thank you to all of the beautiful, wonderful members that have registered today. And of course, this travel talk is recorded and posted live on our website and YouTube channel. So if there's any information that you might have went over your head, or you think, oh, I remember them saying something about that, what did she say? It is recorded for you to rewatch at your own leisure, which I think is great. So I will take this off the screen and I'll say my goodbyes. Thank you again, Kelley. And I look forward to the next travel talk I have you. I'm not sure when, where that'll be, what it's going to be about, but I'm sure we'll figure something out because I love this dynamic that we've got going. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.